Welcome inside the Chaifetz Arena on the campus of St. Louis University for our live coverage of the 2018 SEC Gymnastics Championship. Session 1 was completed earlier today. Arkansas essentially the leader in the clubhouse with a 196.425. This evening session, the top 4 teams in the SEC features LSU, Florida, Alabama, and Kentucky. And based on the regular season standings, Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Bar Connor. I think LSU has to be considered a favorite, Kathy.
Absolutely. Their consistency has been amazing.
Let's welcome our ESPN2 audience joining after the softball game. The SEC Gymnastics Championship. Coming up now, the final session. LSU has to be considered the favorite. They are undefeated in the regular season, and their scores have been very impressive. I'm Bar Connor, along with Kathy Johnson-Clark.
LSU has definitely been the most consistent team all season long. Their greatest challenge will be Florida. However, Florida lost Kennedy Baker to a ruptured tear a few weeks ago, so it's going to be up for grabs.
Alabama will start on the beam, and they're number 3 seed in this competition, and in fact they have won from the number 3 seed before. And Kentucky is thrilled to be in this session as well. It is the SEC All-Around channel. You can catch the action on the All-Around channel on the ESPN app, so you can follow your favorite teams. It's a 4-event meet. All 4 events going simultaneously. LSU opens up on the vault, Florida on the bars, Alabama on the beam, and Kentucky on the floor. That was Sarah Finnegan leading it off for the LSU Tigers. This is Alicia Boren from Florida on bars.
The leadoff routines are so important in gymnastics. They really need to settle into a rhythm, get the momentum going, so you want a solid performance up first.
Alicia Boren, the junior from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey.
On bars, you really want to see smooth, effortless swing, and those handstands need to be right on top of the bar. The judges are going to be very particular on that and those landings. No movement on that stuck landing.
Great start for the Gators. 10 times they've won the SEC Championship. 3 times they've been a national champion.
This is a double layout. That's a double back in a laid out position, one of the more difficult dismounts on the uneven bars, and very well done.
All 4 events going simultaneously in this final session of the SEC. Sarah Edwards up on vault now. Score is in for Sarah Finnegan. Their leadoff vault was a very strong 9.875.
And Bart, the vaults are rated with a certain start value. The first vault we saw from Sarah Finnegan was a 9.95 start value. This is a 10.0 start value, a 1.5 twist. She will land facing away from the table. Very nice vault in the air. That step on the landing is going to be the sizable deduction in that vault.
She got congratulations from Bob Moore. 19 years he's been in charge of the vaulting team at LSU. They've done a fantastic job. LSU undefeated in the regular season this year. And in fact, they're the SEC regular season champions based on their win-loss record. The 4 top teams in this competition, in fact, represent 4 of the top 9 teams in the country. So in terms of quality gymnastics, this is just about as good as it gets, Kathy.
We talked about the talent that Florida has coming in with their freshmen. This is one of them, Megan Skaggs, and they really have to step up. They lost Kennedy Baker, who's a senior and an all-around performer, big scorer on 4 events.
It's interesting, for many years, Florida didn't have a lot of depth. This year, that was their story, a whole bunch of depth. But now it'll be tested tonight because of the loss of Baker.
That was a perfect start to the routine. Handstand right on top of the bar. Excellent work on the single bar release on high bar. Right to the release transition down to low bar. The judges want to see that kind of difficulty for the big scores they hope to get in this final session. Double layout. Oh, got a hop on the landing. That will be the deduction there.
The former 2-time national team member.
That's her single bar release move right into a release move down to low bar, showing very good level of difficulty combining those 2 elements.
Madison Desch now for Alabama on the beam. Now, this is an interesting spot because Alabama on the beam here in this first rotation. This is clutch because we've seen them drill balance beam routines, and they have an opportunity here to get off to a terrific start.
A well-prepared team can really use this to their advantage. Unfortunately, that is a mistake. She lifted her foot, and she won't connect those two elements, so she will have to do this back handspring, lay out, step out. That will be her acro series.
Ooh.
Lot of trouble early on in this routine.
Now, Abby Armbrecht led them off. The junior from Mobile, Alabama, had a 9.8. Maddie Desch is a sophomore from Lenexa, Kansas. She's struggling.
She absolutely is. She's really rattled. She needs to calm her nerves. So far, there have been balance breaks and misconnections. There's a side somersault.
Oh,
She's
my goodness.
just really, really shaky from the start.
We're talking a young lady who is a former member of the U.S. national team, was a member of the gold medal winning team at the 2014 Worlds for the U.S. Not having a good day here. Amelia Hundley, also a former national team member, starting on bars for Florida after Megan Skaggs' score comes in at 9.8.
Beautiful swing elements. Notice the transition from low bar up to high and right back down to the low bar. Those are her elements of difficulty, including that transition back up to the high bar with a half twist. Very nicely done. This is a great routine for Florida. Half in, half out, and a stuck landing. They are off to a terrific start.
Scores for Florida on the bars, 9.85 for Boren, 9.8 for Skaggs. Adrian Burde, the assistant coach, formerly Romanian national team member, congratulating her.
This is Juliana Canamella, and she is performing a Yurchenko fall. She's following a fall from the previous gymnast, Ruby Harold. Missed her vault. What a clutch vault to come up with that landing.
Ruby Harold, the former Olympian from Great Britain, only had a 9.3. So in this competition, there's 6 athletes on each team on each event. You count just the best 5 scores towards the team total. So you can drop one low score. But once you have a low score, it puts enormous pressure on the rest of the lineup, doesn't it, Kat?
Absolutely. And notice right there, she has the stick crown. LSU gives the gymnast, presents them with the stick crown if they stick the landing.
Sarah Edwards, by the way, had a career-high 9.9 in the second spot for LSU. Extra pressure here now on Maya Hambrick, who has just been money for the LSU Tigers.
Now, if I could get into her head, which I don't want to do, but she's performing a 1.5 twist. Sometimes she gets ahead of herself, starts thinking about the landing. She needs to blast a big vault first and then drop it in for a landing. 1.5. Very nicely done. That's one of her best vaults. A little unsure on the landing. That'll be a minor deduction.
Rachel Gowie on bars for Florida. This is a 4-ring circus, folks. 4 events all going simultaneously. It's a lot to cover.
I like the way Florida is attacking this event. They are going after every vertical handstand. No hesitation, not holding back. Big swing elements. Great difficulty in these routines. A little bit of a pike down on that double layout, but no movement on the landing.
And before her, Amelia Hundley had a 9.9.
I love this. She holds that layout, but then a little bit too much of an extreme hike down, but wow, what a landing.
Florida off to an outstanding start on the uneven bars. 3 times national champion, 10 times SEC champions. This meet is expected to come down to the 2 favorites from the regular season. That is LSU and Florida. Alabama can never be counted out. As you mentioned, they've won from the 3rd seed, but they have struggled on beam. And Abby Armbrecht had a 9.8, Maddie Desch an 8.8. So a lot of extra pressure on Peyton Ernst, and she's in your lower left screen of our SEC All-Around channel.
Both LSU and Alabama are in a pressure situation. Now, you train all season to handle these. That's why they do the pressure sets in practice. Peyton is doing a great job down on beam. Here's Kennedy Edney, a 1.5 twist. It's a big vault. Nice amplitude in terms of height and distance from the table, but that step on the landing, they're giving away little tenths of a point where Florida is not giving away anything.
Edney, the sophomore from Chino, California, 2017 NCAA vault champ. Now we go back to one of the outstanding freshmen for Florida, Jasmine Fobers.
And Jasmine has an unusual bar to, almost overbalanced that. That will be a deduction. I like that she's being aggressive, But she's a little out of control on that swing. That's a cover. She should have gone over on that handstand. So she has to get back into the swing of her routine. That's an interesting combination there, that in-bar finger, the release move between the bars, and a half in, half out, and a step on the landing. That's their weakest routine so far, so that will be the score they hope to drop.
2 scores prior to that, Hundley and Gowie both had 9-9s.
She went after this hard, but way overbalanced. That will be at least a 1/10 of a point off.
Alex Hyland for Kentucky on floor. And what a thrill to see the Wildcats in this session. This has been a historic year for Tim Garrison in his 7th year as the head coach there. Kentucky currently ranked 9th in the country. And they had some big wins in the SEC this year over Arkansas, Auburn, and Missouri in the regular season.
This is a team that has worked so hard to show that improvement on every single event. Opens with a high double back. That big bounce back is going to cost her. The judges are looking for complete control on those landings.
Highland currently ranked 18th in the country in the all-around. They have 2 incredible all-arounders here for Kentucky. Molly Korth as well. She's 13th in the all-around rankings.
One thing we're going to look at in this competition is the level of difficulty on floor exercise. The top routines will have those E passes, the more difficult tumbling pass. We'll point those out as we see them. The judges are also taking into account the choreography, the musicality, the dance skills, the leaps and jumps, all must be performed.
First 2 scores for Kentucky on floor for Haley Poland and Ella Warren were both 9.85s.
Back 1.5. She was a little bit off going into that second element. Notice she bent her legs in that front layout. A little bit of a form deduction there.
It's been a thrilling day of gymnastics here in St. Louis. Earlier today on the SEC Network, we had the session 1, and just moments ago here on the bars, Alex McMurtry, the NCAA all-around champion, ranking superbly this year.
And in the anchor spot for Florida on this event, she is a high-flying, uneven bar worker.
She needs a 9.95 to tie LSU after the first of 4 rotations. Can she do it?
She does every single skill to its fullest. This is a huge, very high dismount. Nicely done, half in, half out, with a perfect landing. That's the kind of routine that's going to get a big score. The amplitude she shows on these release moves, way up above the bar, 2.5 feet up over the high bar, and the dismount is fantastic. A double back with a full twist. She finishes it up above the level of the high bar and just drops it in for a perfect landing.
And that was a very important routine because Jasmine Foberg had a 9.625. That is the score that they're hoping to replace, and they do. Alex McMurtry gets what she needs, a 9.95 on the bars for Florida. They are tied with LSU at the first rotation. Sydney Dukes now for Kentucky on the floor. Let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team, Laura Rutledge.
Well, Bart, we see Sydney Dukes right here for Kentucky on the floor, and Molly Korth will be after her. Those two have pushed each other throughout this season for that 5th and 6th spots in the lineup. Really been a great reason why both have gotten high scores, because it's become a huge competition within the team. Sometimes that can be a great fuel for what they'll end up doing actually out here in real competition.
Good point, Laura. Dukes, the junior from Tyler, Texas. This is her best event.
And early in the routine, she performed gorgeous split leaps. One of the elements the judges are really looking for, showing that complete flexibility and difficulty in the dance. We're looking for that as well.
Coach Tim Garrison was telling us before the competition that they've done extremely well at home. He was looking for a better away performance for his team, because he said we need to do better on the road if we're going to be considered a serious contender for an SEC title.
Good control on the landing. Very strong routine for Kentucky. They're doing quite well. 3 9.85s going into this. They have a 9.675 they'd like to drop.
And a clutch performance for Alabama on beam. Lexi Graber, a 9.9. So the score they're hoping to replace is the 8.8 from Maddie Desch. They have a 9.8, a 9.85, and a 9.9, and this is Kiana Winston,
who can be lovely on this event. She has such great flexibility.
She's the senior from Fort Worth, Texas.
Very light on her feet. Notice how she connected those two elements back to back. That's one of the requirements on balance beam. That is her acro series. Another requirement on balance beam to perform a full turn on one foot.
Talking to Coach Dana Duckworth before the competition, she said, we're blessed beyond belief on balance beam because we do have depth, and their final two performers are amazing.
She's one of the only gymnasts performing the double back off balance beam, and that is a great performance, a clutch performance again for Alabama. Very well done.
Once again, 6 athletes, but you count the best 5 scores, so 4 outstanding scores for Alabama and a stuck landing for Winston.
And nice to see her throw that level of difficulty on beam.
Here is Molly Korth from Kentucky, the sophomore from Wisconsin, and she can do everything, Kathy.
She sure can. She's
so
got
exciting.
A lot of spunk. Now watch this opening pass. Tuck double back. See if she lands with her chest up high. We'll see some gymnasts perform a more difficult tumbling pass in that first pass.
Sydney Dukes, by the way, her score is in. It's a 9.9. That's the first 9.9 today we've seen on floor in this entire competition. That includes session 1, which is earlier today.
I think really to see those 9.9 and above, they really have to do it all. They have to have a high level of difficulty, good form and execution throughout, and a good performance quality. You got to do it all to get that big score.
Currently ranked 13th in the nation in the all-around. She was the SEC Freshman of the Year last year.
Judges are also watching the feet, the footwork on floor exercise. You really want to see extended feet up on high toe.
Score just came in for Kiana Winston for Alabama on beam, a 9.95. That is the highest score of these SEC championships to this point.
Final tumbling run, hike double back, nice stretch in the beginning, a little bit deep knee bend for the landing. That might be a little deduction.
Nikki Guerrero, and you talk about a pressured situation. The score they're trying to replace is the 8.8 from Maddie Desch. They have 4 outstanding performances. A 9.9 would tie Alabama with Florida and LSU in this rotation if Nikki Guerrero could do it, and she can.
This is the gymnast you want in this situation. She is like a rock. She opens with a 3-element series, 2 layout step outs in a row, solid as could be.
Coaching staff tells us that she thrives under pressure. This is the kind of situation she likes to be in. The junior from McKinney, Texas.
She more than fulfills all of the basic requirements on balance beam. She's also performing, notice she looks out away from the beam at the judges. Side aerial.
She just has a sense of comfort up there that few gymnasts exude.
This is a round off 1.5 twists. I've seen her stick it many times, and she comes up with it.
What a moment for the Crimson Tide when they needed it the most. Nikki Guerrero.
Remember at the opening of the show, I said they're going to start on balance beam and finish on bars. They've done this before and done it so well. What a great job, especially coming back from a fall early in the rotation.
Expect a big score there that'll replace the 8.8. Dana Duckworth is pumped up. And Laura Rutledge is with Kentucky's head coach, Tim Garrison.
Coach, scores in the 9.85-9.9 range to start off this thing on floor. What was your impression?
Impression was they handled the bright lights pretty well. So, we were hoping to get a solid start, stepping out on the big stage. Floor, it's an exciting event for us. It's a good, strong event for us. So I think they did exactly what we hoped they would do.
How do they continue to do exactly what you hope on vault?
You know what? They've been flying on vault. Now it's just a matter of controlling those landings. So if we can just add holding the landings to what they're already doing, we're going to be in good shape.
Thanks so much, Coach.
You bet. Thank you.
And a 9.95 for Nikki Guerrero, a season high. That means Alabama covers up that at 8.8, a 9.95 Guerrero, and Alabama takes the lead after the first of 4 rotations by 5/100ths of a point. Better than Nikki Guerrero, a 9.95, Kathy.
What an amazing performance to anchor this balance beam rotation. They had a fall early on, came back with 3 clutch performances, including that one. And Sarah Edwards for LSU. A very difficult 1.5 twist, could not quite get the landing. LSU had a lot of trouble finding landings on vault, but Alex McMurtry for Florida capped off an amazing uneven bar rotation for Florida.
And Sydney Dukes got the only 9.9 so far on floor exercise for Kentucky in the first rotation.
And she did that on the strength of both her dance and her tumbling, put together a complete performance.
Well, we said this is about as good as it gets in women's collegiate gymnastics. We're off to a fantastic start. We're glad you've tuned in. Rotation number 2 coming up.
Collegiate gymnasts compete for their final time at the SEC Championships. Of course, they hope their postseason continues with the NCAA Championships, but this is all they've known for their entire lives. A lot of them starting gymnastics when they're 3 years old, and now they're facing the prospect that it will be done for them after this year. Alex McMurtry from Florida told me it's really starting to hit her hard, but she's focusing on staying in the moment and doing her job. She said she doesn't want to be distracted by being sad. And then Alabama's Nikki Guerrero said that she's just enjoying every moment, celebrating the accomplishments to get to this point. We've seen gutsy performances already out of her tonight. And then for LSU's Maya Hambrick, it's all about making sure that she's encouraging the youngsters that are required to contribute for this LSU team. She said she's found great joy in seeing their successes, and it's taken her mind off of thinking about the fact that this is her final SEC championship. But of course, you guys, this is a scenario where all of these gymnasts want to go out on a winning note to finish their careers.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, it's an emotional evening for a lot of these young ladies and some of the toughest athletes in the world on the floor competing simultaneously here. You can follow the action on our NCC All-Around channel. 4 events going on at the same time. Sydney Dukes, not only did she do extremely well on floor, but what a start on vault for Kentucky.
Drilled a perfect landing on that vault to start them off. LSU on the uneven bars. They need to go big here. They're ranked number 1 in the country on the uneven bars, and they've got some ground to make up.
Florida on the beam in this rotation, and Alabama off that outstanding performance on beam goes to the floor.
That was a huge performance by Sammy Durandi to lead off LSU on bars, and Amelia Hunley on beam. She has been so steady for them. She's competing in the all-around, all 4 events.
Hunley is a sophomore, 3-time All-American last year, All-SEC team.
And Alabama has put a lot of pressure on the remaining teams on balance beam. It's a good position for Alabama to be in, and all the other teams have to step up.
Hunley has extensive international experience, was 9th in the 2016 U.S. Olympic trials, and she competed on the Pan Am and World Championship teams for the U.S. team.
And those nerves of steel are coming into play here. You can just dial that in, focus, stay calm, but aggressive. Everyone needs to get these landings, not give away tenths of a point that you don't have to. Very nicely done. Way to fight for that landing.
Florida keeping the momentum off that outstanding opening rotation on the bars. Maya Hambrick set to go now, the senior from Temple, Georgia, 12-time All-American.
And she has been a tremendous contributor to LSU, one of the top all-arounders in the country, ranked 5th.
She's coming up after Sammy Durante. Led him off with a strong 9.85.
Maya has no weak event. She is equally strong on all 4. This is a great routine for her. Half in, half out. Excellent form and a perfect landing. Now they're finding their landings. They had some trouble over on vault, but not here. They're hitting that shape in the air, giving themselves time to spot the landing, see it, and get it.
And a fist pump from Jay Clark, the associate head coach. LSU #1 in the country, ranked on the uneven bars, and a lot of it is because of the coaching of that young lady there, Dee Dee Bro, in her 41st season. The dean of coaches in the SEC, and of course Jay Clark, who's done a superb job on bars. Danae Dennis coming up after 2 9.875s. Danae Davis, for Kentucky.
Big block off the table. Unfortunately, could not control that landing. Looked like she had a little more height than she was expecting. Love to see that good technique, though, that lift off of the table before she twists.
Megan Skaggs on the beam. Amelia Huntley, solid with a 9.85 in the leadoff spot.
Beautiful straddle split mount, showing off the flexibility right off the bat. This is her full turn, a requirement. She does it in a wolf turn, actually a double turn. Great difficulty. It's going to be interesting to see the scores on balance beam. We've already seen 2 massive balance beam scores, and I know a lot of great beam performers are yet to come, so not a lot of space up there at the top.
Good point. Maya Hambrick scores is in 9.9.
Very nice. Look at how hard she fought. Bring those arms down, finish that skill to show the presentation and to lock in that balanced position.
Florida has lots of options in terms of depth, and it's challenged this weekend because, as you mentioned, Kennedy Baker, one of their standout all-arounders, out with an Achilles injury.
Well, having both Megan Skaggs and Jazing Faubourg step up as freshmen to contribute is going to be a big bonus for them in this competition. Love this double wolf turn, and I'm not a huge fan of that skill. It's hard to make it look pretty, but she did that pretty well.
Ruby Harold for LSU just a moment ago on bars. This is the young lady who is a 2-time member of the British Olympic team, 2012 and 2016.
And she needs to come back strong on this event. What an original move that first skill is out of her mouth. Very original. Here comes her release move. It's a straddle Jaeger. So far, so good. This is a hard dismount to land. Double front. Over-rotate a little bit. Took that step, but the routine was solid.
She was up after Maya Hambrick's 9.9. Sammy Durante had a 9.85 to lead them off. So 3 strong routines for LSU in this second rotation on bars. Maddie Desch on floor for Alabama. Their scores are strong here. Abby Armbrecht, 9.85. Ari Guerra, a 9.9.
And this is an opportunity for Maddie Desch to really show what collegiate gymnastics is all about. She had a miss on beam, and her teammates covered for her. This is her chance now.
On bars for LSU at the same time as Kennedy Edney. Ruby Harold scores in a 9.75.
Hitting the handstands for LSU on bars. Kennedy's doing her job. This is a huge double layout. Nice position in the air. Perfect landing. Wish she had brought her heels together, but no movement. Back 1.5 twist to a Branny and a split jump.
So interesting to see what's happening here with Alabama, because we saw them the first meet of the year. It was Alabama at Michigan, and they looked like they had the pieces of the puzzle, but it didn't look like they were all sort of hitting on all cylinders. But it's really showing tonight, isn't it, Kat?
Yes, they've had a plan all along. They were going to take their time adding more of their difficulty into the routines. They've had some some injuries they've had to work around.
Molly Korth now for Kentucky on vault, coming after Alex Highlands 9-9.
This is a big vault for Kentucky. A 1.5 twist. That is better than any of the ones she did in the warm-ups. Really nice control on the landing. Nice and straight, in line with the table. Really well done. Much better job for Maddie. Finished strong on floor exercise.
It's really interesting as you see Brian Roschilla, the associate head coach there, congratulating her as well. Alabama is one of the legendary programs in women's collegiate gymnastics. They've earned the right to pace themselves and peak towards the end of the season. Some other teams like Kentucky, they're trying to build a perception that they're a contender, but Alabama has earned that right. As we go back to LSU on bars, Lexi Priestman coming after Kennedy Edney's 9-9.
And this can be another big score. Nice back-to-back difficulty. The release on high bar right down to the release to low bar.
She's the reigning SEC champ on this event.
Nice handstand position. And a double layout dismount. Perfect landing. That's the best routine she has ever done on that event.
Incredible. Here's a young lady who's had 6 orthopedic surgeries on just about every joint in her body, and they don't know what they're going to get from her, do they?
So aggressive going after those handstands. Showed that off perfectly. And what a gorgeous position in the air. Double layout legs glued together and a perfect landing.
That will be a big score, and they're not done yet over there because Sarah Finnegan will wrap up LSU's effort on the bars. They have 2 9-9s over there so far. Rachel Gowie on beam, and Alicia Boren had a 9.925 after Megan Skaggs' 9.9. So Florida outstanding here.
There's some good beam energy in this arena. I'm seeing so many really fantastic balance beam routines under a lot of pressure.
Gowie, the sophomore from Urbandale, Iowa, also a competitor in the 2016 Olympic trials, had extensive international competition. 3
skills here, back handspring to 2 layout step outs. Good difficulty. Whoa! Had to fight to save that. She was a little bit off in the air. I thought she was going to pull it back on. That was the same series we saw Nikki Guerrero of Alabama perform. Nice to see her get her composure back. Dismount sequence here. Gainer full off the side, a little half step back. That'll be a deduction as well. She gave up a little bit in that routine. It's unfortunate because she's a very pretty balance beam worker.
They'll have 2 more performers over there, Alyssa Bauman and Alex McMurtry. Just a moment ago, Sarah Finnegan for LSU on bars, their anchor performer, and you see her incredible season average there, 9.96.
Sarah rarely gives up anything in terms of form deductions. Look how straight her legs are, how pointed her toes are, and together, a little bit rushed here. That rhythm was a little bit off to the transition down to low bar. Not a big problem, just minor. Double out, micro hop backwards. I've seen her be a little bit more perfect in that routine, but really solid.
The NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One continues tomorrow on ESPN with the Elite 8 at noon Eastern. It's number 1 Louisville and number 6 Oregon State. Then at 7, it's number 1 Mississippi State and number 3 UCLA. You can watch the games streaming live on the ESPN app. So the LSU Tigers, impressive on the bars. We're waiting for the score for Sarah Finnegan, but they already have 3 9.9s and a 9.85. The score they're going to hope to replace is Ruby Harold's 9.75. Expect a big score for LSU here in the second rotation on bars. Kiana Winston up for Alabama. Their scores so far, Lexi Graber just before her a 9.775, Maddie Desch a 9.8. The high score so far, Ari Guerra's 9.9.
This has probably been Alabama's weakest event throughout the season. Just working around certain injuries and taking their time adding more difficulty into the routines. Kiana can do a double layout, but she's doing a double pike here. So not quite doing the full difficulty.
Talking to the coaching staff before the competition, and they said, you know, there's a risk-reward thing we have to consider, and you could go for a more difficult move but take a step and guarantee a deduction. So they said in this competition there's no upside right now for going for the more difficult.
Absolutely, and you run the risk of even a minor injury at this point in the season is just something you can't deal with.
2 weeks from now they'll have the regionals, and then 2 weeks after that they'll have the NCAA championships. This is all postseason stuff right now, and it really matters. Winston, the senior from Fort Worth, Texas, did her club training at Texas Dreams under gymnastics legend Kim Zmeskal-Burdette.
Closes the routine with a double back in tuck position. For those of you new to gymnastics, when you see a double back in tuck position, that's the easiest of the 3 double backs. Then piked is the next difficult. Double layout, which we will see later in the competition, is the most
and
difficult.
A heel
That's a cute
for
little
heel. She should work that into her choreography. That's pretty clever. Moments ago, Alyssa Bauman on beam for Florida, coming after Rachel Gowie's 9.825.
And she is one of the most extraordinary balance beam workers in the country. Everyone was excited to see what her collegiate routine would look like. She's had great success in elite gymnastics. Such a natural beam worker and can do so many level skills of difficulty. That's a nice one. A nodi, a half turn into the front walkover. Back handspring layout, step out, solid as can be.
Bauman from Dallas, Texas, did her club training at the World Olympic Gymnastics Academy. And of course, has produced world and Olympic medalists out of that program.
Nice and easy front aerial. Love the way she moves in and out of the elements of difficulty. Shows great confidence, good rhythm. Had plenty of difficulty in the routine, and the 1.5 twist dismount, very well done. Perfect landing.
And her score, a 9.975 for Alyssa Bauman from Florida. What a rotation. They have a 9.9, a 9.925, a 9.975, and Alex McMurtry will be their anchor performer as we go back to the floor where Alabama is doing superbly well. Also, this is Nikki Guerrero.
And there are very few gymnasts who have as much fun as Nikki does with her floor routine.
Alex McMurtry, the senior from Maryland, reigning NCAA all-around champion and SEC all-around champion on the beam for Florida.
Alex is such a precise gymnast. Every skill is done with great precision, very good form, good posture. Back 1.5 to front full on the floor exercise. Got dueling difficulties here, showing great work on balance beam. This is one of Alex's better balance beam routines, has given up very little in terms of deduction. Everything has been just spot on. A double twist, little bit of a bounce on that landing. That will be a micro deduction there.
Oh, I love her technique, though. She just skies that double full.
Absolutely. Final pass, a Rudy.
Few people sell their floor routine better than senior Nikki Guerrero from Alabama. She's coming up after the 9.85 from Kiana Winston. There's only 1.99 for Alabama on floor, and that was Ari Guerras. Let's go down to Laura. She's with Dana Duckworth.
All right, thanks, Bart. Coach, let's go back to beam because you have a situation where you need major comeback. And then your two seniors, 9.95s. How were they able to pull that off?
I feel like they just focused on being in the present and not worrying about anything that happened behind them or before them. It was just literally, they were just doing it for their girls. And I just cannot say enough about just the confidence that these seniors have given the entire team. They're magnificent young women on top of being awesome athletes.
How do you ride the confidence of your seniors throughout the rest of this meet?
Well, I think they've been incredible role models. They have lived every part in and out of the gym and what we've asked of them to be in discipline, in making great choices, and all those things. And so, you know, when you're built on character, then amazing things can happen. And that's what we're focused on. Yeah, we want to be great athletes, but if your character isn't what it needs to be, that's the difference in moving on in life and being successful.
Thanks so much.
Roll Tide. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura. Congratulations, Dana. Okay, Florida, based on the strength of that second rotation, has retaken the lead at the halfway point in the competition. What a beam performance here.
What a beam rotation for Florida, and finished it off with a great one.
Their season championship in the competition tonight, where everyone's going head-to-head on the same floor at the same time. Florida has taken the lead slightly over LSU here in this second rotation, and a lot of Florida's success on beam was due to this young lady, Alyssa Bauman.
Story all evening so far has been balance beam. We have seen some great clutch performances, and they are just stepping up each time. Lexi Priestman on the bars for LSU. They needed to come up with a lot of stuck landings. They didn't get them on vault, but boy, did they get them on bars. And Ari Guerra on floor exercise for Alabama. This has been the hardest event for Alabama all season long, but they had a solid rotation. And what a meet Kentucky is having. Big scores, especially Alex Highland, a 9.9. Look at that landing.
So when we come back to St. Louis, we'll move on to rotation 3. Exciting gymnastics. This is a close one. You're not going to want to miss the rest of this.
The SEC on ESPN. We've seen this Alabama team show some fight tonight. It could have something to do with the pep talk they got from Alabama's football head coach, Nick Saban, who came in and told them the biggest key in competition is to execute and do your job and make sure that you're focused on everything you can control. He said that was the exact speech he gave his Alabama football team at halftime of the national championship when they were down. And then, of course, they came back to win that one. Now, Nikki Guerrero wants to be an NFL agent. She got a chance to ask Coach Saban a question. She asked, what's the difference between a good player and a first-round draft pick? And he said, the talent is always there, but the difference is a first-round draft pick is somebody who wants to go out there and do their job and execute, even when they don't feel like it. Dana Duckworth said that's exactly what Nikki Guerrero does. So an interesting tie-in there, guys.
Laura, we are underway in the third of 4 rotations. LSU on the beam, Florida on the floor, Alabama on the vault, and Kentucky on the bars.
This is an opportunity for Kentucky to be very, very strong on this event. We were really impressed with the training and the warm-ups. They look really sharp.
Senior Katie Carlisle gets them off to a great start. And typically the bars is one of the best events for Kentucky.
Very strong start for Alabama on vault. Abby Armbrecht just hit a Yurchenko full. This is Erin McAdeg for LSU, one of the best balance beam leadoff performers in college gymnastics.
The senior from Redwood City, California.
She missed that just a little bit. It's a very difficult leap, that switch leap with a half turn. She didn't quite get it all the way around.
Very interesting that both Florida and Alabama had outstanding performances on beam. Big scores. So a little extra pressure on LSU to see if they can do the same. LSU trailing Florida by 15/100ths of a point in the team competition. Bama third, Kentucky in fourth.
Beautiful comeback there with her acro series, really solid on the landing.
Second team All-American on balance beam, typically very reliable.
Really strong routine. That little hop on the landing will be a small deduction. And in her leap series, she had that little problem in the middle leap.
They're currently ranked number 3 on beam in the country. LSU has had a spectacular regular season. Shea Mahoney now.
Alabama looking for, I was going to say stuck landings. Unfortunately, that is not one. She landed very stiff-legged and leaning forward with the chest down, so an awkward landing for Alabama.
Abby Armbrecht had a 9.875 to lead them off. Ella Warren moments ago on bars for Kentucky. Katie Carlisle had a 9.85 in their leadoff spot.
Here's her single bar release. Beautiful form in the air. Love the straight legs, the good amplitude.
She's the freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. Very excited about what this young lady brings to the team.
She is hitting this routine. All of the elements are just right on. They have some very exciting bar dismounts planned in this rotation. That was a double layout. That step back will be a deduction.
4 events going simultaneously here in the second session of the SEC Championship. Maya Hambrick about to go on beam. The score is in for Erin McAdeg, a 9.8.
And what I love about these first 2 performers on balance beam is the way they almost work off each other. Often they're both perfect together, but sometimes one's a little bit off and the other one just steps up and picks it right up, covers for them. Beautiful full turn with the leg in parallel position, a little more difficulty in that. Love that hitch kick to an aerial cartwheel.
Hambrick, the 12-time All-American for LSU.
She has a nice quick pace on balance beam, shows a lot of confidence. And it just shows a real mastery of balance beam. Notice all the level changes. She does things high up off the beam, many things low on the beam, like that back roll. I like the variety in this routine and the way it just keeps moving from one element to the next, and yet she finishes everything.
All she has left is the dismount here.
And it's a double twist. She usually does a really good job finding the landing.
Oh!
Very well. Boy, she fought. They may take a tiny little bit because she was shuffling her feet ever so slightly.
But 2 hits for the first 2 routines for LSU. That's what they need. Maddie Desch, Alabama.
Like floor exercise, this has been a tough event for them throughout the season, managing the injuries that they've had. They lost senior Mac Brannon, who we would have seen on the uneven bars. She had an Achilles rupture. Yurchenko full, not quite the big height, but clean in the air, so you're not giving away those deductions, and a pretty controlled landing.
Tuesday on ESPN, the 81st NIT continues with the semis from Madison Square Garden at 7 Eastern. Western Kentucky takes on Utah. Then it's Mississippi State and Penn State live on ESPN and the ESPN app. Katrina Coca now on bars for Kentucky. They have 2 9.8s from Stewart and Warren and a 9.825 with Katie Carlisle. Coca, the junior from Stillwater, Oklahoma. She really is an uneven bars specialist for the Wildcats.
And I know this is an event that Tim Garrison loves to coach. Really pushes the level of difficulty. Half in, half out. They've worked so hard to improve on every event, but I see so much improvement on the uneven bars.
Such good news surrounding the Kentucky program. They sold out Rupp Arena this year for the first time. Over 10,000 to see a dual meet in gymnastics. And so things are looking good for the Wildcats in this sport. And Tim Garrison has done a really nice job in his 7th season to take this team from sort of one of the others to a team that is relevant and a contender. Alex McMurtry will go for Florida next.
And unfortunately, Florida's had some troubles on floor. They opened with a 9.775 from Amelia Hunley, and then Megan Skaggs unfortunately fell on her final tumbling run. So that score we're waiting for will be a low one that they want to drop.
We just got the score, Kathy. It's a 9.175. So you're right, a 9.775 for McMurtry, then a 9.175. So extra pressure on the rest of this lineup. Of course, that never phases the reigning SEC and NCAA all-around champion, Alex McMurtry.
And watch her first tumbling pass. It is crazy good. It's a triple twist, the only one in this competition performing this skill, and it is sky high. The technique that she has in the round-up back handspring, she sets it up. Boom, look at that. I mean, you could walk under it. Unfortunately, those little steps, that wasn't a perfectly controlled landing. So they will have to deduct.
Excuse me, Kathy, but because she's been dealing with back problems for the last couple of years, she doesn't actually get to train that a lot. So many times it's just in competition where she'll go and do a complete floor exercise routine. They just try to rest her because this is a long season where they're competing week in and week out.
And we have been amazed how dialed in that technique is for a very difficult tumbling pass. Combination pass, the front layout to a front full. The strength of Alex's routine really is in the tumbling, so she has to capitalize on hitting them perfectly.
Florida is our leader, 15 100ths of a point over LSU coming into this rotation.
This is a double back. Needs to get those arms up. It's in tuck position.
Oh!
It is sky high. It is too high.
Oh my goodness.
Over-rotated it.
Oh, I'm not sure I've ever seen that from Alex McMurtry.
It's almost like she overcompensated. She pushed so hard.
You know, we've talked often about the podium. It's springier because you're up on a 3.5-foot riser. All the equipment is a little bouncier. And perhaps because she doesn't have that much experience doing competitive routines, might have just flustered her. A moment ago, Nikki Guerrero for Alabama on vault.
Nikki does a 1.5 twist. Start value of 10.0. Not quite a stuck landing, but a really good vault.
And she got a 9.9, so she is doing her part for the Crimson Tide, having a strong competition today. Molly Korth for Kentucky on bars. They have 2 9.8s and then 2 9.8 2.5s, and Korth is amazing.
And she has a spectacular dismount plan. She has to get through the first part of the bar routine. So far, so good. She sets it up with big giant swings, gets a lot of momentum here, and then pops this up. Double layout with a full twist. Really difficult. I cannot tell you how difficult that dismount is.
Superb execution throughout.
Absolutely. I mean, we see some of the gymnasts do the double layout, and then she just wraps that full twist on the second somersault. Well done. They will have to take off a little on the landing, but wow. Bonus points for that dismount.
Kentucky having a terrific competition here at the SEC Championship, session number 2. This is the first time in their program history they've competed in the second session. They split the sessions into 2 different groups starting in 2013. So this is the 6th year that they've broken up the teams into the 1 through 4 seed in the evening session and the 5 through 8 seed in the earlier session, as we saw today.
And Reagan can be beautiful on this event.
LSU has done well. They have 2 9.8s, a 9.875 for Desiderio before her, and Maya Hambrick has a 9.9.
She does a nice job connecting that first series, the front aerial to the back handspring. Florida has definitely opened the door here for both LSU and Alabama. They are going to have to count a fall on balance on floor exercise. So this is where LSU needs to capitalize and put up 5 big scores on beam. Switch half leap. It's one of the most difficult leaps on balance beam. You get a lot of bonus points connecting those 2 loops. And the dismounted double to, oh, very short on that, but saved the fall. It's only a big step, but that is a sizable deduction. Double layout, little short on that landing. That skill is new. for Rachel this season.
Rachel Slocum coming after a 9.125, a rare score that we've ever seen associated with Alex McMurtry after that fall on her last tumbling pass.
A little bit off on those leaps and jumps. Really need to be a little bit more precise in the air.
In team competition, 6 athletes compete. Best 5 scores count towards a team total, so Florida will have to count a low score. And keep in mind, they were the team leader coming into this rotation, so that will shuffle the deck for sure.
And this is another fun-loving gymnast. She has more fun and gives us more joy watching her, not just in her routines, but on the sidelines as well. She keeps things light, fun, and relaxed.
Transfer from Eastern Michigan. She joined the team a couple of years ago at Florida, and she has done superbly well, particularly on floor and vault, her specialties.
Did you see that shift in mood right there? Got to focus on this final tumbling run. Rudy to a double stag jump.
Let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
Well, you talk about Rachel Slocum, Bart, and her joy for gymnastics is no secret. In fact, Alex McMurtry, her roommate, was saying that she loves gymnastics more than anybody she knows. Of course, she's a senior, and so Alex was worried that Rachel would take it hard, knowing that it's almost over for her. But she said, actually, Rachel has been a huge pick-me-up for this team, especially with, of course, Kennedy Baker dealing with her injury as well.
Just a moment ago, Sarah Finnegan from LSU mounted the beam. Reagan Campbell before her a 9.775. But the rest of the scores for LSU have been extremely impressive on this event.
We have several really excellent balance beam workers in this competition. Sarah is among them, one of the best. Very lovely presentation of this routine.
Sarah Finnegan needs a 9.875 to pass Alabama, who is currently in the lead in this rotation because Florida has struggled.
Bart, she just did that dance series so well. Made the difficult look easy, side somersault. She has more than enough. She goes above and beyond in terms of level of difficulty, both in her acrobatic skills and the dance series. Aerial cartwheel full, fought for the landing and got it.
And Alicia Boren for Florida on floor, beginning her routine as Finnegan finishes.
There's one of the more difficult passes on floor. We haven't seen a lot in this competition. That was the double layout.
Talk about how tight this competition is. These are the 4 best teams in the SEC, 4 of the best 9 teams in the country. This is how close it is. Even if Florida gets 2 10s on their final 2 4 performances, they would be in 4th place, dropping from 1st place. And the score is in for Finnegan, 9.925. So LSU does exactly what it needed to do on beam. Solid.
Final tumbling run. High double back. Good control on that landing. Came up big for Florida. They needed this.
Florida has had some struggles on the floor exercise, and of course we mentioned earlier, Kennedy Baker, normally in the lineup, they could count on her, but in fact, because she tore her Achilles, she's out, and that shuffled the lineup, but this was completely unexpected from the start.
This one was unexpected. Megan Skaggs had to come in and step in for Kennedy Baker. Alex McMurtry, as we've said, hasn't been able to train a lot because of a back condition that she works around, and unfortunately, just could not put it together.
The NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One continues tomorrow on ESPN with the Elite Eight at noon Eastern. It's number 1 Louisville and number 6 Oregon State. Then at 7, it's number 1 Mississippi State and number 3 UCLA. You can catch all the action streaming live on the ESPN app. Back to the floor for Florida, the final performer, Alyssa Bauman. Alicia Boren got a 9-9, but once again, Florida will have to count, at this point, the 9-1-7-5 from Megan Skaggs after that unusual mistake from the star Alex McMurtry. LSU was rock solid on the beam in this rotation. They will be the leaders, in fact, 75 thousandths of a point over Alabama after 3 of 4 rotations in this incredibly close competition.
All of the teams so far have done so well on balance beam. We've seen some troubles on floor exercise. Alyssa plans to finish the floor with a pike double back, which she opened with a tuck double back. Beautiful position in those leaps in the air. Little foot shuffle there.
She was the member of the U.S. team to the 2014 World Championship where they earned a gold medal. Superb elite gymnastics career, and in fact, there are 8 gymnasts on the University of Florida team that have represented their countries in international competition. 7 from the U.S. and 1 from Canada.
Strong finish with pike double.
So we might be seeing the effects of Florida missing Kennedy Baker, who was not only outstanding, but completely reliable.
And have been anchoring floor exercise for them all season long. Huge floor routine, always a big score.
So that wraps up the 3rd of 4 rotations. We'll wait for the score for Alyssa Bauman. LSU, superb on the beam. That final score of Sarah Finnegan, 9-9-2-5. So can LSU repeat as SEC champions? They did it in 1981, the first year of the championship that they hosted. They did it last year. And right now, holding the lead by 75 thousandths of a point over Alabama, Kentucky in 3rd. We wait for the score for Alyssa Bauman on floor. And it's in. It's a 9-8-5. Let's go down to Laura Rutledge. She's with Florida's coach, Jenny Rowland.
All right, thanks, Bart. Coach, we saw strong performances to end the floor rotation from Alicia and Alyssa. What can you say about what they just did?
They did a fantastic job. They did a normal routine today. That's what they do in the gym every day, day in and day out, and just shined, had a great job, and enjoyed what they were doing.
I love what you just said in the huddle. This ain't over. What do you hope for your team for the rest of this performance?
Absolutely. Nothing's ever over. We still have one more event. We've got some fantastic vaulters. We're just going to go big, let it all out. We've got nothing to lose, and just have a lot of fun.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And when we come back to St. Louis, we'll move to the 4th and final rotation. Can LSU get it done one more time? They have a slight lead over Alabama. SEC Gymnastics Championship. Here are the scores at this point. LSU with a lead of 75 thousandths of a point over Alabama. Florida has dropped all the way to 4th in this rotation. LSU doing a terrific job. And Laura Rutledge caught up with Dee Dee Bro.
Dee Dee, how did your team do exactly what you needed to do to get this thing going on beam and ending with a 9-9-2-5 from Sarah?
Well, we had a couple of freshmen there in the end, but we had some spots of greatness and then some little mental letdowns, and I think they began to try. Nothing beats a try but a failure. So, we don't want to try. You just have to go out there. It's got to be something that you do from muscle memory. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. It got a little bit hard, but Sarah Finnegan brought it home.
Have they settled in the way that you would like them to finish this thing out?
Well, I think we've got the right attitude going to floor, but and we've got a great floor lineup. I think it's as good a lineup as we have, but got a lot of freshmen, a lot of kids that, we'll see what happens, but they're ready, they're eager and excited about going to their last event.
All right, we're excited too. Thanks.
Thanks.
It usually turns out that the champions are the ones that can stay on the beam, and in that rotation, LSU was superb.
We have seen some amazing performances on the balance beam, and LSU did not disappoint. Maya Hambrick, tough as always, and Sarah Finnegan, grace under pressure, came up big.
And Alabama had started their day on the beam, and they were rock solid. Let's take a look at their vaults.
They really came up huge in this rotation, hitting bigger vaults. That's a 10-0 start value vault. And Nikki Guerrero, we've seen her stick this bad boy a few times. Didn't quite get the landing this time, but pretty darn close.
So tonight in St. Louis, we will give out the SEC Championship Trophy after the next rotation. Who will it be? Can LSU repeat as champions? We're back in St. Louis for the 2018 SEC Championship. I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, you just made a good point. We're getting ready for the fourth and final rotation, but the lead has changed every single rotation. Alabama after one, then it was Florida, and now LSU has a lead of 75 thousandths of a point. They'll be on the floor in this fourth and final rotation.
I can't remember in SEC championships or any competition really that we've seen that lead shuffle every rotation.
LSU on the floor, Florida on the vault, Alabama on the bars, Kentucky on the beam.
Now Florida has caused some troubles for some of the other teams, so LSU has to really dial in these landings on floor exercise. Alabama can capitalize over on the uneven bars, and Amelia Hunley for Florida on vault starts them off with a perfectly stuck Yurchenko full. That's exactly what they need.
In your lower right, that's Ashlyn Kirby, the sophomore from Claremont, North Carolina for LSU. And a stuck landing for Alabama. Ari Guerra, boy, she has had an outstanding meet for the Crimson Tide today. In the background on the beam, you see Katie Stewart from Kentucky.
This competition is certainly teaching us that it is not over until it's over, and how important it is to stay in the moment, the event you're on. Strong start for LSU.
You know, Kathy, going back years, of course, it was Alabama and Georgia trading off on many of the SEC titles. It's so interesting to see 8 quality teams in the SEC. There's so much more parity. That's why we're seeing the competitions that we're seeing.
Absolutely. Session 1 this afternoon was outstanding, and same thing here in this competition.
Rachel
Seeing a
Gowie.
lot of pressure mistakes, however. Rachel Gowie is in for Megan Skaggs. This is a last-minute replacement on vault. She does a Yurchenko fall. Wow, what a clutch performance. She had not planned to do vault.
So a Skaggs fall on floor exercise. Amelia Huntley before her had a 9-9. So Gowie does a nice job as we go back to bars for Alabama. Winter Childers coming up after Ari Guerra's 9.825.
Setting up for her dismount, half in, double back out. Kind of an unusual little twist on the dismount.
The junior from League City, Texas does a nice job in the leadoff spot. They lost a couple of critical routines from last year. And yet, Alabama reloading as Dana Duckworth proud of her team's effort to this point. I think we're seeing Alabama at its best tonight that we've seen them the entire season. Christina Desiderio now for LSU on floor. She's coming after Ashlyn Kirby, notched to 9.85.
We're seeing the floor lineup from LSU that they've planned all season long. This would be their dream lineup. Opens with a double layout.
And
we're going to see more difficulty in these floor routines as well.
Good point. Interesting to note that this is the event where they had much change from last year. Remember Ashley Natt, Sydney Ewing, and of course McKenna Kelly, the daughter of Mary Lou Retton, out with an Achilles injury. So a lot of changes in this lineup, and yet they're still superb on floor.
There's her combination pass, front through to a double tuck. LSU is always known for their high energy routines on floor exercise.
And all year long, I've been impressed with their level of fitness. They do not run out of gas at the end of their floor routines, and that's just their training.
And when you have that kind of fitness and that kind of training, the consistency comes because they can do the numbers in the gym, in practice. They always have an intra-squad the day before competition, so they earn their spots in the lineup. They're just very meet ready. Pike double back for the dismount. Good difficulty, opening with that double layout and a double pike at the end. That's the level of difficulty that can score big.
Alicia Boren on vault for Florida, set to go. They have a 9-9 from Hundley and two 9.85s from Gowie and Faubourg.
And this is a 1.5 twist, and it's a big one. Huge vault in the air. She took that step on the landing. They will have to deduct there.
And just a moment ago for Alabama on bars, Shea Mahoney mounted. Winter Childers before her a 9.85 and Ari Guerra a 9.825.
Alabama has been having a very solid meet.
Oh,
no.
My goodness.
Missed
Oh.
the release transition from low to high. Just underdid it a little bit. Could not get her grips. Oh, this is called a Shaposhnikova from a toe on, and just really didn't have enough height on the transition, the release up to the high bar, and couldn't get her grips on. Now that's a 0.5 of a point deduction in gymnastics for the fall. She'll resume the routine from there because you have to get all the elements in, and a competition this close, every 10th is going to matter. Even if this is the low score they want to drop.
Alabama trailing LSU coming into this rotation by 75 thousandths of a point. That's not what they wanted right there. Just a moment ago, Rachel Slocum on vault for Florida, coming after Boren's 9.8.
Always an exciting vault. Traditional entry, handspring front, pike half.
Wow.
Big vault. Look at the distance from the table, and that's a 10-0 start value vault as well.
Lexi Priestman now for LSU on floor, coming after Christina Desiderio had a career-high 9.875.
Full twisting double back again. That's one of those E passes, more difficulty.
I noted earlier that the junior from Cincinnati has had so many surgeries on her knee and leg, and yet she has such a high quality level of performance in her gymnastics. She contributes a lot to LSU.
And that was a nice middle pass. High back 1.5 twist into a front layout. Really high on both elements.
When you think of LSU, of course, last year they had Ashley Nat, Sydney Ewing, Shea Zamardi, and McKenna Kelly even on this event. And so we weren't really sure what LSU was going to have this year, but their depth has been really impressive.
Finishes a routine with a pike double back. Great difficulty from start to finish. Solid performance.
So our leaders doing a nice job, hoping to hold on to the lead in the fourth and final rotation. LSU, can they go back-to-back with SEC titles?
Alex McMurtry doing her double twist. This is a fantastic piece of gymnastics. Very difficult, high as can be,
wow.
And a great landing. I don't even think she could move him to turn and salute
It
to
looked
the
like
judge.
it looked
She
like
got stuck.
She got stuck.
She stuck, and then she got stuck.
She's
Did
like,
not want to. Oh, that ankle almost rolled out a little bit. Whew.
After that fall on floor, what a comeback for McMurtry. A 9.975 for Florida there on vault. Moments ago, Lexi Graber for Alabama on the bars. Coming after Shea Mahoney, only a 9.2 after that fall that we saw.
A great addition to this Alabama team. She is good on every event.
He's the freshman from Cape Coral, Florida.
Nice handstand. That final position sets up the dismount here. Half in, half out. A little bit leggy in that dismount, a little sloppy with the legs, but very nicely done on the routine.
And there will be 2 more performances for Alabama on the bars, and they have to have 2 big scores to have a chance at this championship. Of course, they're missing Mackenzie Brannon. You see her there. She had an Achilles tear, and she's typically superb on the bars, so having to adjust without her in the lineup. As we go back to floor for LSU, the score in for Priestman is a 9.875, and this is Kennedy Edney.
And it's a very entertaining routine. She has a lot of fun with this, and very big opening tumbling run, Arabian double front.
For the sports fans watching tonight who think, I know that name Edney. Yes, it's her father, Tyus Edney, the former star at UCLA in basketball.
Back 1.5 to front layout. Good control on that landing.
LSU has a 9.85 and 2 9.875s in this event.
Those elements, the judges really look for that picture in the air with a full split in those leaps. See if she can get this final controlled landing with the double tuck. Little bit off balance, little unsure. Nothing major, but slight deduction.
And every landing is going to be critical. This one is close. 75 thousandths of a point separating LSU and Alabama coming into this final rotation. Kylie Dixon, moments ago for Alabama on the bars.
Oh, lost the leg bone just a little bit. She was really going after that handstand position hard. Might have been a tiny bit short there. Beautiful handstand on that final toe on handstand. Nice amplitude on her release move. A little struggle on that last cast. See if she can get the stick, because these are the obvious deductions. Little hop there, so there are little deductions in there. See what the judges do.
Freshman from Spanish Fort, Alabama, had a 9.75, and Kiana Winston will be their final performer for Alabama. You can see her 9.92 regional qualifying score. That's essentially your average.
This can be a beautiful routine. Watch this skill when she transfers down to low bar. High flying. Oh, no. Pat Salter. She was in a little too close. She's got to cover now. Ooh. She had to ad-lib that routine a little bit because she was just in too close on that transition down to low bar. She pulled it out, but not her usual. Nice job on getting the landing, though, not giving away that 10th of a point there.
So a missed opportunity for one of their superstars, Kiana Winston. And remember, Shea Mahoney had a 9.2 earlier. That's the score they're hoping to replace. Sarah Finnegan now for LSU on floor. The score for Kennedy Edney before Finnegan, a 9.85.
1.5 twist through to a 2.5 twist. Love this pass. A lot of difficulty in it. Not your usual big double backs, but technically just as difficult. This routine is one of the prettiest in the competition. She is such a beautiful dancer. And she has the difficulty. High.
Oh, beautiful.
Double back in tuck position.
She just floated out of the air on that.
Everything is so stretched and so full. I mean, this is the type of routine you could be sitting up in the top row in this arena and still appreciate this performance. You could see it. High double back, Kind of a large step into that lunge, but she covers it so beautifully, so elegantly. It will be a minor deduction. Love that routine. Just a really complete performance. Great dance, great execution of all her tumbling passes, excellent difficulty throughout the routine, and just the details were absolutely gorgeous.
LSU feeling like this one is theirs. We wait on the score for Sarah Finnegan. Finnegan needs a 9.45 to win it. That is in the books, folks. Consider that done. And they will have Maya Hambrick to ice the cake on this one. But LSU will repeat as SEC champions. Let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
Well, Bart, this is especially unique for Sarah Finnegan because she is a Missouri girl. She's actually born in Kansas City, spent a lot of time in St. Louis, had been in this arena before, but she said that being here in front of about 50 people that came to see her was going to mean so much to her, being able to perform for them. A lot of them that don't get to see her in person do her gymnastics. They're here, they're part of this huge LSU cheering section, and it's definitely a big moment for her to be able to do this here.
And what a thrill. Sarah Finnegan will clinch it for LSU. That's a 9.85. So regardless of what Maya Hambrick gets, LSU is going to repeat as SEC champions. Let's just enjoy Maya Hambrick, who will close it out for the LSU Tigers.
And Maya can close it out in style. Check this out, double layout. Perfectly straight. Oh no, stepped out of bounds. Out of bounds is 1/10 of a point off. That's too bad because that's really the best double layout I think I've seen her do.
It was a little higher than she anticipated. Of course, they're competing on a podium here, which is a 3.5-foot riser, like a staging system, which makes everything just a little bit bouncier. This is how you see it at the World Championships and the Olympics.
Look at the height of that 2.5 twist to punch front.
It's interesting because we saw this level of performance and fitness from LSU in the first meet of the season, and you wonder, can they keep that standard throughout the season? But this team has done a remarkable job at performing with this level of polish and explosiveness all season long.
And consistency, meet after meet. Even when things don't go perfectly, they still go well enough to get the win.
So the senior from Temple, Georgia, will wrap it up for the LSU Tigers. #1 in the NCAA on floor. And although that wasn't her best effort, they didn't even need it tonight. We're talking about the finest of the finest in SEC gymnastics. And right now, LSU on top of the mountain. Florida has won 10 times the title. LSU, this will be their third. They won it in '81 and last year. Associate head coach Jay Clark and Dee Dee Bro. A few final notes for this team that was undeniable tonight, Kathy.
And we've talked about this before. The SEC Championships is so important to these teams. They fight hard for it.
And we noted earlier they won the regular season trophy based on their win-loss record. But this one probably means even more because on the floor, the best 4 teams in the conference going head-to-head at the same time. And LSU will repeat as SEC champions. Their second straight team title and their third overall. Not to be denied tonight.
Very nice. They got their seniors in there to hold the trophy up. Last time they will be performing at the SEC Championship.
It'll be LSU, Alabama, Florida, and Kentucky, Arkansas, Georgia, Missouri, and Auburn. As Alabama's coach Dana Duckworth gives congratulations to Dee Dee Bro. When we come back to St. Louis, we will talk to the winners. Don't go away. A thrilling day of gymnastics here in St. Louis in 2 sessions. But tonight, it was all about the LSU Tigers. With a 197.4, they repeat as SEC champions. Alabama second, Florida third, and Kentucky fourth. Let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
All right, thank you, Bart. Here with Dee Dee Bro, Sarah Finnegan, and Maya Hambrick, the LSU Tigers once again the SEC champs. Dee Dee, you used to stand out in front of Winn-Dixie's and pass out tickets to try to get people to come to meets. Now you're repeating as SEC champs.
Winn-Dixie's a corporate sponsor for LSU. Yeah, it's come a long way, and it's a lot of hard work and a village of people that really care about this sport now. My athletic director, Tiger Athletic Foundation, a fan base that's remarkable, and some incredibly talented athletes.
Okay, one of those, Sarah Finnegan from Missouri, and you have all these people in the crowd tonight cheering you on to do your floor routine, knowing that you probably had to get a pretty good score, but it was within reach. What was that like?
I know that I still had to do my job. We always talk about that a meet's never finished until the last person goes. And so knowing that in the back of my mind, we still had to fight for that last finish. I was just really proud of how all the girls went in front of me and hit their routines. And so just knowing that going in with the confidence that I had to finish in the 5th spot.
Maya, your routine was icing on the cake because you had already won it at that point. But you've said throughout this season, seeing the success of the freshmen has really fueled you. What was it like seeing them experience winning a championship for the first time?
Oh, they're so excited. They're over in the corral just, screaming their heads off. But, they bought in at the beginning of the season about what this was about. And if they hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have been able to do this tonight. So I'm just really proud of them. They've grown a lot, and they're really contributing.
Of course, we'll see more of you throughout this postseason, but the last SEC championship that Maya Hambrick will compete in, what has she done for this program?
We hate those last things that they celebrate. Amazing, to start the freshman year that she had, because she was really just a level 10 that was trying to make the lineup. And then she took that summer before her sophomore year and really accelerated her training and her commitment to what she wanted to do. And Ashley Nat put her under her wing, and they just committed themselves to, we're going to be better than ever, we're going to be greater, and they did it. It was absolutely amazing. And then, we've just got such a great staff. With Bob and Jay and, Ashley, Claire Kearney, Sarah, Ashley Nat, both of them won national championships, won SEC championships, and now they're coaching back-to-back SEC championships. That says a lot for student coaches that are doing a super job.
Sarah, what has Maya meant to you as somebody who set a great example?
Maya's been an amazing figure for my time here at LSU. She was actually, I wrote this in her little letter, she was my first friend coming here, and she just took me under her wing. I always joke that she's my mom, but just setting the example of what it's like to be a student athlete, her hard work in the gym and out of the gym, with her work ethic, with her intensity, with her commitment, with her dedication, and just her love for the school and the sport. And it's just amazing to be the generation after her. But I love her.
Maya, still work to be done, certainly for you, but you've learned a lot of your gymnastics even in college. What can you say about the way that this program has shaped you?
They were supportive, and they were like, hey, you need to learn this. And I was like, okay, teach me. And they did. And and we just worked together. Like Dee Dee was saying, I worked really hard, but I didn't do it by myself. I had them, and I had all the girls that were in the gym working with me, pushing me to be better. So it's just a really great atmosphere to be at LSU. Everyone really cares about each other. And I wouldn't have had this kind of success if I didn't have these kind of people behind me. So it's
right here. Yeah.
Dee Dee, you said when we came over here that it wasn't the prettiest of wins. What does a night like tonight, where you do have to fight a little bit, do for the rest of your postseason?
We'd have somebody'd have a little break, and then the next person would like duplicate the break, and then we'd look around and other people were having falls. So it was just a matter of consistency and maintaining our edge and maintaining our intensity and what we wanted to accomplish at the end of the meet. We knew it was going to be a process, and we knew it was not going to be easy because Alabama's a great team, Florida's a great team, and Kentucky is coming on. What an exciting night for everybody.
We loved it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations to the LSU Tigers on a repeat of their SEC championship. Sarah Finnegan gave a clutch performance.
Well, just as I said, so much goes into making a great program and a great team. Same thing with a great all-around gymnast. No weak events. All her hard work paid off. She was stellar from start to finish, and even the parts that weren't absolutely perfect, they were so close, and that's your all-around winner.
Sarah Finnegan getting some final notes there from Associate Head Coach Jay Clark. She is the all-around champion of the 2018 SEC Championships to go along with their team title. Catch SportsCenter with John Anderson and Linda Cohn on ESPN After Boxing. They'll break down the Pelicans Rockets and the MVP matchup between AD and the Beard. Plus, did Shohei Ohtani make the Angels' decision easier today in his final start of the spring? And the top moments and reactions from Loyola and Sister Jean's magical run to the Elite Eight. SportsCenter, 11 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. We'll be back to wrap it up and give our final thoughts. What a thrilling day of gymnastics here from St. Louis. Well, that wraps it up here in St. Louis for the 2018 SEC Championship. I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. As promised, a thrilling day of gymnastics start to finish.
These teams sure made it interesting. Every single rotation, the lead changed. I've never seen that. Outstanding balance beam performances under so much pressure. Few little issues on floor, but every team fought to the very last routine.
Now, we said at the top of the show that it was really LSU's to lose based on what we've seen in the regular season, but they still had to perform under that enormous pressure.
They weren't going to give it up, and they were so consistent. Even when things weren't absolutely perfect, they continued to fight and work together. Kennedy Edney, a huge 1.5 twist. They had trouble with landings on vault, but boy, they came back strong on the uneven bars. They're ranked #1 in the nation here, and they showed it at the SEC Championship. Nearly every gymnast stuck their landings. Sarah Finnegan was superb on all 4 events. She's your all-around champion here. Came up, grace under pressure in that final spot on beam. And Lexi Priestman, great to see her in the lineup doing lots of difficulty. She lit it up on floor exercise.
So LSU repeats as SEC champions. Of course, they're going against some of the best teams in history. Alabama has won this 9 times. Florida has won it 10. So it was a thrilling night against the best of the best in the SEC Conference. All right, we got a big postseason coming up here and a lot of action still to come on the ESPN family of networks. Let's take a look at what we have coming up, Kathy. April 20th, it'll be the ESPN2. We will cover semifinal 1 at 1 Eastern. Those are top 6 teams in the United States based on the regionals that will happen 2 weeks previous. And then semifinal 2 will be later that night at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. And the next day on April 21 at 7 Eastern, we'll be on ESPNU to wrap it all up, the Super 6 final. You know, Kathy, we've been doing this a long time, but every year it seems to come down to the final dismount of the final performance. It's going to be thrilling once again, isn't it?
It certainly did. It really sets up the NCAA championship. We've seen a lot of the top teams here. You and I have both seen Oklahoma, UCLA, and Utah, so NCAA championships, they're going to be huge.
And we'll be back here in St. Louis for all of that action. LSU wins the SEC Gymnastics Championship in a repeat. You can catch the SEC Championship Awards ceremony in a couple of minutes on the SEC Network Plus and the ESPN app. Now let's get you out to the 2018 NCAA Hockey West Regional from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Clay Madvick and Sean Richland with the call. Thanks for joining us here tonight. SEC champions LSU.